10 episodes. Every major Claude for Legal plugin covered, from litigation to corporate, employment to privacy, product counsel to AI governance. This is the 10th and final episode in the launch arc. The document layer. iManage, NetDocuments, Everlaw. The connectors that bring Claude into where lawyers actually keep their work. This episode introduces all three. What each one is, what it promises, and what we don't know yet. The deployment reports, what practitioners are actually finding in practice, come later. 9 episodes before this one covered the practice area plugins, the tools Claude for Legal built for litigation, commercial, corporate, employment, privacy, product, and AI governance work. Each episode walked through what the plugin does, where the gain shows up, and where the gaps are. This episode closes that arc. The document management connectors are different from the practice area plugins. They're not tools for a specific kind of legal work. They're infrastructure, the layer that connects Claude to where your documents already live. That distinction matters for how you think about deploying them. Every episode in this arc has shown Claude working on documents you bring to it. You upload a contract, you paste a brief, you copy text into the chat. That friction is real, and it compounds across a matter, especially on large transactions or complex litigation, where the document set runs to hundreds of files. The document layer connectors flip that dynamic. Instead of you bringing documents to Claude, Claude comes to where your documents already live. Your document management system is where your matter files are, your precedents, your correspondence, your executed documents. If Claude can access that system directly, without manual export, without version control breaking down, without documents leaving your governance structure, the workflow closes in a way it hasn't before. That's the promise. These 3 connectors are how that promise is being delivered. And we want to be clear about where we are. These connectors are new. This episode is the introduction. The deployment reports will tell you what actually works in practice. iManage first, because for most practitioners watching this channel, iManage is where your documents live. iManage is the document management system in the majority of large law firms globally. AmLaw 100, Magic Circle, top-tier firms across every major jurisdiction. If you're at a firm above a certain size, your matter files, your correspondence, your precedents, they're almost certainly in iManage. The Claude for Legal connector surfaces iManage content directly in Claude. You can reference a matter file, pull a precedent, or work on a draft without leaving the Claude interface, without manually exporting from iManage, without version control breaking down. The promise is that Claude works on your actual matter documents, not a copy you've manually moved. Nothing leaves your document management system. Governance stays intact. What we don't know yet, how well the connector handles search relevance across large matter file structures, how it behaves on very large document sets, and how it manages confidentiality boundaries between matters on the same platform. These are the questions the deployment reports will answer. We'll be back with those once the panel has run it on real matters for 30 days. NetDocuments is the leading cloud-native document management system. If iManage is the choice for large firms on established infrastructure, NetDocuments is the choice for firms that have moved fully off on-premise and built their practice around a cloud-first stack. Mid-size firms, boutiques, practices that have prioritized cloud infrastructure. Strong in the US mid-market and growing internationally. The Claude connector works within NetDocuments' existing permission and access control structure. Claude respects the boundaries already set in your system. The same access controls that govern who can see what in your firm apply to what Claude can access. The workflow promise is the same as iManage. Matter files, Claude analysis, and document output all in the same connected system. Nothing moved manually. Version control maintained. For firms that have already invested in a cloud-native document infrastructure, the connector is a natural extension of that investment. For firms still on-premise, the iManage connector is more relevant. The choice between them is almost always made by your existing infrastructure, not by a preference for one over the other. Everlaw is the connector that's most different from the other two, and the one the panel is watching most closely. Everlaw is not a general document management system. It's a cloud-based discovery and litigation platform built for document review, case chronology, and trial preparation. Its inclusion in the Claude for Legal connector suite signals something deliberate. Anthropic is thinking about the full litigation workflow, not just transactional document management. Everlaw already has AI-assisted review built in. It classifies documents, it tags by issue, it handles volume. The Claude connector adds a different layer, the analytical and drafting capability that Everlaw's built-in AI doesn't provide. Chronology building across a document set, inconsistency identification across witness statements, deposition preparation, issue analysis, all of that directly inside the platform where your review is already happening. No manual export. Nothing moved between systems. The promise here is the most significant of the three connectors for litigators. A discovery platform with Everlaw's review capability connected to Claude's analytical capability in a single workflow. What that delivers in practice is the question. And it's the question the deployment report for this connector will need to answer with real matter data, not launch materials. The three connectors solve different problems for different practitioners. iManage is for large law. If your matter files are in iManage, the connector brings Claude into that infrastructure without requiring your firm to change how it stores or governs work product. The watch items are search relevance across large matter files and confidentiality boundaries between matters. NetDocuments is for cloud-native practices. Mid-size firms that have moved off on-premise will find this the most natural fit. The watch item is performance on complex workspace structures. Everlaw is for litigators. If discovery and case management is where your document volume lives, this is the connector that changes the most about your workflow. The watch items are interaction with Everlaw's existing AI review tools and behavior on very large production sets. In all three cases, the panel's position is the same. These connectors are introductions, not verdicts. The deployment reports, coming later in the series, will tell you what practitioners are actually finding. That's when the channel's assessment becomes actionable. 10 episodes. The launch arc is complete. What the arc covered was an honest orientation to what Claude for Legal is, what each plugin and connector does, where the gain shows up in the launch materials, and where the gaps are before deployment data exists. That is not the same as a deployment verdict. These plugins and connectors are months old. The profession is still in the early stages of working out where they earn their place and where they don't. What comes next on this channel is different. The 30-day deployment reports, commercial legal and litigation legal first, synthesize what U.S. practitioners are actually reporting in legal forums, in LinkedIn commentary, in legal tech analyst coverage, combined with Anthropic's own release notes and updates since launch. The framing for those episodes is not what we found, it's what the profession is finding and what it means for your practice. That's the channel from here. The arc is done. The work is just starting. See you next episode.